launch. I'm Andy Simmons, the president and publisher of Ballast and Blue Bloom Books, and we have a good one for you today. Sitting here in the chair next to me, look, in the past we've had Navy SEALs, we've had astronauts, we've had world-renowned photographers, but we've never had the king of rock. Today, Darryl DMC McDaniels, Run-DMC. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is so cool.
Thanks for coming down. D flew down this morning. You had a show last night?
Performed last night with Tom Morello at a Irving Plaza in New York City. It was amazing.
Can't imagine.
So we're definitely going to do some more shows together. It was phenomenal.
What'd you sing with Tom?
We did King of Rock. Speaking of King of Rock, we did, because that's his favorite. He says King of Rock, and we did It's Tricky, of course.
You got to do Tricky.
Yeah, it was so
That's
fun.
amazing. Well, it is time for Christmas time in Hollis. So you got to start doing that again.
Exactly. Yep, definitely.
And so that was the impetus of the book. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the book.
Yeah.
Darryl's Christmas in Hollis. This is the book right here. This is actually Darryl's second children's book that we've done together, and it's just been such an honor, such a great story message, and we'll get into that. Yep. But let's start with why children's books.
Well, it started when I was being invited to speak at schools. I started speaking at elementary schools. And the two educators, the two teachers, who are now principals in their districts, Shawnee and Johnny Warfield, they invited me to the school to speak. And when I go into the elementary schools, I don't go in and say, "Hi, kids, I'm the first rapper." No. I go in and I'm like, "Yo, what's up, y'all? My name is Darryl McDaniels, boom, boom." I speak to them like people.
Yeah.
And she said they responded so good, so they brought me back a second year. And then on the third year, they brought me back. They was like, "You should do a book." And at first I was like, "Nah, I don't want to do a book, whatever." And they said, "No, you can do a book. You can reach so many kids without having to actually be there." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Here's the deal. You'll do the book with me," because I like doing collaborations.
Right.
Run-DMC and Aerosmith, Walk This Way.
Classic.
Run-DMC and Adidas, my Adidas. So they was like, yeah, we was in. But basically did the book to do what I've been doing with my music for over 43 years. And if you ask what's that, inspire, motivate, educate while you entertain. Because the kids now, they need something that speaks directly to them.
Yeah.
Now, all the classic stories are amazing. Charlie Brown Christmas, How the Grinch Stole That. But the kids of the past 40 generations that I've been around since I was a kid, they don't have nothing that's defined but their culture.
Right.
Even though there's many cultures in it, you got Indian, you got Asian, you got African, you got Latino and all of that. Our generations of the past 40 years don't have characters or stories that are from where they are from. So I was like, you know what? The teachers were like, "Yo, just tell stories of what you've been through as a kid. Darryl, you've been around a long time." And I was like, "Okay, you think those things will be relevant?" And they said, "Yeah." So it's actually the same thing I've been doing with my music, I can now do with a book. And the beautiful thing about a book is it's a 3D, maybe 4D experience. They see it, they hold it, it's 4D. They read it and they experience the emotions.
Absolutely.
So I was like, okay, if I can do with a book what I've been doing with my music, and at the same time, as you know, to get more kids to read.
Exactly.
That's
so important for them in the early stages of life.
Exactly.
And if they can, you want to almost like Trojan horse the messages in there to them. It's entertaining to them, and they're we'll definitely get into the message, because the message of the book is absolutely amazing. It's universal.
Yes.
You wonder, the kids, they're going to be learning, they're going to be entertained, but they're also going to learn a lot about kindness and an amazing lesson, a lesson at the end of the book.
And and kids are wonderful. Like, it's the adults that are mean.
Yeah.
But the kids, you get at the bottom base level, the kids are here, you want some, you want to share, but along the way, they pick up the bad habits.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
In order for me to relate to the kids, okay, even if they don't know Run-DMC, like the mothers, fathers, and I've been around so long, the grandmothers and grandfathers know me. Even if they don't know Run-DMC, they know my music from video games, movies, and TikTok, for instance. So when I connect with the kids, oh, you the man that made the Tricky song. I'm not DMC for Run-DMC.
Right.
I'm DMC the It's Tricky TikTok man.
TikTok.
Or DMC the It's Tricky Sonic the Hedgehog movie song man. But then when I connect with them, how do I connect with kids kindergarten to 6th grade? I got to tell stories about when I was in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Yeah.
So that was the brilliant thing that you know, the way we came up to for me to relate to the kids.
Yeah. And what is it you mentioned before, the way you come in and you talk to the kids like a person. You don't page out, you come in and talk to them. What is their reaction when you come in there? How do they
They want that so bad.
Yeah.
Cuz you know, when you look at movies and TV shows, and you know, the TV shows and sitcoms or the movies, they'll do it funny. They'll have the older professor or the principal or the police guy or the politician come in, and they show the kids looking at them like,
right,
okay. But when I come in and speak to them as people, they respond much better. And then when you open up for Q&A with the kids, because I like to read the book to the kids, then I open up for Q&A. You know, with the older kids are funny, the high school, the college kids, you could talk to them about something really serious. You know what I'm saying? And then when it's Q&A time, do you know Justin Bieber? Do you know Taylor Swift? You know, rightfully so. But with the kids, by talking to them like they're people, they respond with, how did you feel when you got teased and bullied? How did you feel? Because they have an opinion. How did you feel when your mother told you you have to go to bed and you can't stay up to watch the movie because you got school in the morning? So you get honesty from the kids. And with honesty, you get understanding. So, you know, I'm 61 years old. So when I first walked in there, they look at me and they say, oh my God, you're old. I said, no, I'm not old, I'm classic. Change that. But then when I speak to them as people, they respond respectfully as people.
And you're so animated and exude cool. Even at 61, they have to know, like, that guy's cool. Even if they don't know who Run-DMC is, like, that guy's cool. And you're so animated. The way you talk, you know, I remember with Darryl's Dream, the way you read the book. I mean, I don't know anybody that reads a kid's book better than you do.
Right, exactly.
And so they have to respond and react to that.
And when they see the teachers, they look at, I've never seen Miss McGillicuddy act like this. Who is this guy? And then when I speak to them and read the book, they say, oh, okay, I can see why you like this guy.
Yeah, so that's great. And you obviously have such a passion for it, for helping.
Well, I mean, it's crazy that I'm doing books because that's all I loved as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember all the books for me that changed my life. There was a book about a dog called Rigsby. Or Rigsby or Rixby, I remember that book. Charlotte's Web, of course. Sounder. Of course, all the Dr. Seuss books. You know what I'm saying? So there was books that impacted my life. So I'm like, yo, if I could create a book from me for my generations and cultures, you know what I'm saying? I think it could have it'll make existing in this universe and growing up cool.
And existing together, and that's what it's about. So you talked a little bit about bullying. How did you grow up? You grew up obviously in Hollis.
Went to Catholic school.
Okay.
So I can relate to the scene in the Blues Brothers when they go back to the nun to start the mission. If she pulls out the yardstick, everybody that went to Catholic school can relate to that. Our nun
My
was
kids
Sister
go now. They
Nazare.
don't hit them with rulers anymore.
Yeah, no
though.
more. But back then,
Back then.
oh my God, when I saw that in the Blues Brothers, I was like, oh my God, I had a flashback. But I went to Catholic school because I was always reading. Like it wasn't that I wanted to be Mr. Smarty Pants and know-it-all. I used to love. I loved comic books growing up.
Yeah, we haven't talked.
And I still love them. So in kindergarten, when I got my first comic book, it was the artwork that was attractive to me. And the books that we do are so well done.
Oh, the illustrations are amazing.
Shout out to Tristan Tate. Straight out of Australia from the land down under. I mean, the first thing that happens when we give them the books that we make, even the Darryl's Dream book, oh my God, everybody says that. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Oh, the art is so well done. But when I saw my first comic book, it was the artwork that connected with me. And then, you know, even in kindergarten, even though I didn't read, I went through the whole book, and it was just that it was like I said, it was a sensory emotional explosion. So when I got in first grade, my mission was this. I'm going to pay attention every day so I can understand what Tony Stark and Peter Parker and Bruce Wayne is talking about.
That's great.
So the fact that I was reading, and that's why I'm so happy doing books. To get, video games is cool and all that stuff, but books are amazing. So I was a little kid, went to Catholic school growing up, loving comic books, and I just loved to read. And because because I loved to read, it made me a good student. So I was that kid, but at the same time, I wasn't a, athletic kid. Oh, you're the corny, geeky nerd kid that's, reading books and reading comic books and stuff like that. But it paid off for me later on when it was time to get on a microphone. Yeah. So, like every kid, you get teased, bullied, and picked on because you're you. But I wanted to change that to show kids we all come from different cultures, different places, different races. But at the end of the day, all of our differences is what makes us special together.
Yep. And that's what Darryl's Christmas and Hollis is all about.
Yes.
So why don't you talk a little bit? I mean, I was going to ask you for the inspiration, but that sounds like the inspiration.
Yeah, the song.
And obviously the song.
The song was, this goes a little deeper. The song was Christmas time in Hollis. Everybody could relate to that. But this goes to more of an actual situation that was happening, in the house. When I was growing up, it was the Apollo 5-speed that everybody
I was wondering, I want to know how much of a true story is this?
Yeah, but we changed the name. Yeah, we changed the name here.
Yeah.
But growing up, I wanted this Apollo 5-speed
bicycle.
And, my parents were very, very giving and stuff like that. So the year that I was supposed to get it, I said, no, Mommy, give my bike to somebody else.
Wow. What age?
I was probably 10.
Okay.
Maybe.
And so this bike that you wanted more than anything.
I started seeing that Christmas, you could be Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Because, when you're little, it's Santa Claus. But then you see people buying gifts and doing stuff for other people. And I was like, that's kind of cool, And since I was a comic book kid, it was very superheroic.
Yeah.
So I was like, Mommy, give my bike to some other kid. And they was like, okay, they said, okay, we'll do that. But then that Christmas, I still got my bike too. So it taught me that if you give, and I wasn't expecting, if you give without expecting anything in return, you still get what, what I'm saying?
And that can be more rewarding than...
And that's what more rewarding for you. Because my father, my older brother, Alfred, was like, what? No, shoot, you ain't get my bike away. Because he wanted the 10-speed. Because he was the older kid.
Okay.
He wanted the 10-speed with the curl handlebars, the ball, the back in the day bikes, you know what I'm saying? So it was just seeing things that I was experiencing in pop culture. Like, I wanted to take my household and make sure that it could relate to every demographic, every, whether it's Asian, whether it's Puerto Rican, we all go through the same things. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to tell a story that everybody could relate to, that's related to my song, Christmas in Hollis. But then I realized something. Well, this is actually Shoni and Johnny. She was saying, let's create a story where, because everybody celebrates holidays and traditions differently. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's the same meaning. So since they're teachers, they deal with all of these kids, the Indian kids, the Asian kids, the African kids. They said, let's put their celebrations in there too. Mm-hmm. So this book is actually kind of like a mix that Rest in Peace Jam Master Jay would do. Because remember, hip-hop, we took rock, blues, jazz, R&B, punk, funk, and disco. Yeah. And we gave it to in a presentation that everybody could relate to. Yeah. So like I said earlier, it was brilliant that Shoni and Johnny was like, you can do with a book everything you were doing with your music. So we wanted to include the celebrations and traditions of other cultures. Because all these kids are in the same classrooms. Mm-hmm. They're in the same lunchrooms. They're in the same school.
Kwanzaa,
right.
Christmas, Eid.
Exactly. So if the kids don't talk about it themselves, here's what my family does. When these kids read this book, they see themselves and they see their celebrations and their cultures being put up on a platform and saluted too. So they can say, oh, okay, I get it. So, I want to do things that knock down the walls that divide us, the same way Steven Tyler knocked down the wall in the Walk This Way video.
That was a great video.
So, when you show every kid characteristics and presence of who they are, at the end of the day, when these kids sit down and have discussions about their differences, it enhances what's unique about diversity. Diversity isn't mine's is better than yours and yours is better than mine. Diversity is, we do the same things too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the way that you were able to weave multiple messages into this book was really genius. It's what you talked about, like with early hip hop, all the different types of music. I mean, you like you said, you talk, and it's really smart the way you do it. So Darryl's putting on different glasses.
Well, Shawnee and Johnny Warfield came up with that because we wanted people to see what we was talking.
Yeah, so it puts him in that. It puts him at the house where they're spinning the dreidel and they're lighting the candle for Hanukkah, and then he's in the house for Eid and for Kwanzaa and for everything else.
Right, exactly.
But then you don't even. So you have that great message with kids experiencing different cultures.
Yeah.
But then then there's this great story about giving away the bike, which is
right when he sees the other family, and it's like, why that family don't have what I have?
Yeah.
And then he realizes the only reason why he doesn't have it is because nobody's giving it to him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, kids will share everything in a minute. It's along the way that they learn. No, you don't do that. You don't share with. You don't talk to people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And as someone with young kids, that message, that Darryl, the lesson that he learns about that family, you're always trying to make your kids understand that, hey, we're very fortunate. People are a lot less fortunate than us. Yeah. So I think a lot of kids that will read this, they might, well, mommy, why doesn't that family have something? And hopefully they learn at the end, hey, giving can be much better than receiving by the lesson that they...
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, the way we set it up in the book, it's organic.
It is.
You go from one situation right into the other. And that's the beautiful thing that we came up with. Because in our world, it's our families, our friends, our careers, the people around in jobs. For the kids, it's the same thing, except their world is their households, their backyards, their streets, their blocks, and their schoolyards and lunchrooms.
Yep.
So everything that we get, when we get nervous, when we get anxiety, we get up and down, you know what I'm saying? All of that, it starts when we was little.
It's, my 5-year-old will come home and she'll be really upset about something that happened in her little tiny class. Right. And part of your first instinct is like, to laugh. It's like, oh, that's so minor. And then you realize, well, it's not minor to her. Right, that's her whole world.
And vice versa. She could see you come home from a bad day of work and know something's wrong with daddy. So we want the kids to understand that their feelings are okay to have.
Yes.
And their emotions are okay to have, because you don't want the kids, especially with the whole mental health thing, so you don't want the kids to go into these situations and continue to carry the experience with them to where they say, like, when they experience anxiety in school and there's no situations or stories or characters or people around for them to relate to, when they get 16 and 17 and it comes again, they'll think something's wrong. And then they'll reach out to substances and they'll self-abuse or beat other people up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you teach them that, what this book shows is, it shows them everything that they're already doing.
Yeah.
It's not me like teaching them Christmas is supposed to be this way and this, and I'm saying, no, Kwanzaa, Christmas, Eid, whatever it is. It's your celebration. But then they'll say, oh, it's the same thing that we do. You share, you be good, you be kind, you care about other people. And then at the end of the day, your relatives and friends come over and you eat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and going back to the message of secondary and tertiary messages, right? Because it's not only that they're going to recognize, oh, hey, that's how I celebrate, but they also get to see, oh, that's how Johnny celebrates too.
Yes.
Oh, that's why he wears a yarmulke, that's the way they do it at their household.
Their dress, and that's their music.
Exactly.
But it's still, at the end of the day, it's still clothes, it's still food, and it's still music.
I love the way you tie in food in there, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, you talk about the food in the end, everybody is tied by food and their own traditions.
Exactly. It's so cool.
So, yeah.
Because even for me, it's funny, even for me, I can't go to the mall during the holidays because Jewish people, Jamaican people, Asian people. D, guess what we're going home to listen to? Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens, you know what I'm saying? And it's not the actual food, it's the fact that it's food, so they can relate to it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's proof. You experienced it firsthand. Yep. Again, this is why I think you're uniquely qualified to do a book like this, because you do your music crosses race and background.
We use like the crossover of crossovers.
I mean, you were doing it. You know, talk about with Aerosmith.
Yeah.
I mean, who was doing that back then? Nobody. I remember that when I was a kid. I was like, whoa, because I was already listening to Aerosmith. I kind of knew who Run-DMC was once I saw that video.
And you saw us together, which was
like,
so cool.
Man, that's my new jam right now.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very important too, because I also see that, like you just said, you astronauts, Navy SEALs, and stuff like that. It's also important for people in all walks of life to write books.
Yeah.
So that the generations below us, or the up and coming generations, can have access to that information. Because you said astronaut, you know, even in our generation, when we was little, most I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a professor, I want to be an athlete and stuff. So it's important to write news stories that these children can relate to.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously I'm biased. I'm an author and a book publisher. That books are the most important thing in my household. I was the same as you growing up from a young age. I read voraciously from a very, very early age.
Yeah, I would go to the store and my mom would, you want a toy? No, I want a book.
Yeah, I was the same way.
One of those kids.
The library for me was just,
oh yeah,
that was the greatest place you could go.
Yeah, big shout out to all the librarians. Yeah. Librarians are gangster. They love when I say that. They say, yes, we are.
They are.
Yes.
They are. We'll make sure we get Darryl's Christmas and Hollis stocked in a lot of libraries.
Yes.
But there is, talking about the medium of books, there is something. It has staying power. So, like, TikTok, okay, put a video on TikTok and you can educate a kid on something, a great lesson on TikTok, but that thing's gone, right?
Yes.
2 days later, it's gone.
Right.
This is forever.
Forever.
We still, we all still have books from when we were kids.
Oh, for sure.
My kids are going to have their books and they're going to give them to their kids.
Yep.
There's something about
pass them down.
There's something about this medium that is just
it's so different, because even though it's a universal and a personal experience at the same time.
Yeah.
And you don't get that. It's like, like you said, on TikTok, you get the music, it's the song, then it's on to the next thing.
Yeah. And with those mediums, they're giving you all the senses. They're giving you the sight, the sound. You're not using, a book is the perfect mix of giving your brain something to, but now you have to start using your imagination.
Yes.
You have to start picturing it.
Yep.
So your brain is working too. That's what I mean. Think about it. CDs, they lasted 20 years. Records, they lasted 20 years. We still have music, but it's in different forms. Books have been around for thousands.
It's eternal.
Eternal, thousands of years. This is the medium that will never die. At least it better
it's crazy. I mean, vinyl's making a little comeback. CDs, cassettes, books have been around forever. Because look, if technology ends tomorrow, we got the books.
Still got and that's all I need.
Yeah, I always say that. We always say that about the superhero movies that are all the thing now in Hollywood now. And, the real geeks and nerds said, the movies are cool, but we had the comics. We had the actual books. And you can always go back to them.
I still have a box of my. I did Punisher and all.
Yeah,
I still have all those comics.
So books are eternal.
Yeah,
I love that.
What do you read? What type of stuff do you read today?
Well, right now I'm working on my next volume of my comic book.
Tell us about the comic.
Oh, DMC Darryl makes comic books. Stan Lee was like a god to me.
Yeah.
Because DC was cool. Like I said, I read. DC, I used to read, collect, draw. Started with this tracing paper, but then it got to the point where by second grade, I could just look at the cover of Darryl's Christmas in Hollis and draw it myself. Because with the tracing paper, you're actually going through the motions of it.
Yeah.
So when you pull a paper where you can still, it's like practice
muscle memory,
and stuff like that. But Stan Lee was brilliant. And here's why books are important. In all shapes, forms, and fashions. DC was cool, but Gotham and Metropolis was trying to be New York. Stan Lee was like, I'm going to just put the superheroes in New York. So without leaving my room,
Right. Where you lived in New
every
York.
time, I lived in it, but I
Yeah.
couldn't leave the block.
Yeah.
But without leaving my room and my block, every time I opened up a Marvel comic book, I learned about the place I lived in: Hell's Kitchen, Lower East Side, Harlem, Midtown Manhattan. Like Stan Lee gave me a geographical lesson, social studies lessons
Yeah.
of the world that I lived in.
That's amazing.
So I saw the power in books of how you could tell stories and reach people where they're at. You know, movies are cool. Like all the other kids, they used to go to the movies and stuff like that. He said, "No, I'm good. I got my book."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when I met Stan Lee, he said, "Well, that's the reason I really created the comic books." To give you, like the X-Men is about bigotry and hatred and racism. Like every character had a theme. You know, Peter Parker blew my mind because nobody wanted a kid superhero. Stan Lee didn't believe that, so he created Spider-Man. And look, Spider-Man is one of the... And here's what's crazy. People forget this. Most superheroes are smart and educated. Dr. Bruce Banner is the Hulk. Tony Stark's educated. Reed Richards. Spider-Man smarter than Tony Stark's. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. I never thought of that.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
I didn't find that out until I started going to Comic-Cons.
But you probably somehow subconsciously knew it growing up. You placed the value, and I think from what I know of you, your parents place a strong emphasis on education.
Oh, 100%.
But just reading those comics, you probably realize, hey, Tony Stark, he's educated, he's a scientist, right?
Yeah, he didn't just make that suit up. He had to learn and study and stuff like that. Right. So with the comic book, it was just another form of a book that was exciting to me. And also with this book, like even in the Darryl's Dream book, you see young Darryl, young DMC is always up against some adversity. So the kids got to understand there's always going to be obstacles and it's always going to be struggles, like even in this situation. But you can persevere. So when you think about superheroes, they're all smart, but they're all geeky, nerdy, and awkward. And most superheroes had some traumatic or hard event in their lives. So when I was reading these comic books, it was like they was talking about me.
Yeah, you can relate.
And even if, even growing up, it was like all my friends, they would go see the Superfly and Shaft and all the blaxploitation films and stuff like that. And my parents wasn't letting me go see that stuff. But even to me, it was more powerful that, I'm looking at this guy called Captain America, and you got the civil rights movement and all the racism stuff that you see in the news and in the media. But the coolest thing, one day I pick it up and Captain America got a cool black friend called the Falcon from Harlem. So it's showing me a world where all of the stuff that people are living out here, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to create the comic book because I'm a superhero fan, but at the same time, I wanted to motivate, educate, and inspire while I entertain, just like my music. And a lot of the kids, I was doing a reading with the first book, Darryl's Dream, third graders in the Bronx. And I just read the story, opened up for Q&A. One kid asked me, DMC, Mr. DMC, because I'm older now. He goes, Mr. DMC, why you didn't call Darryl's rap? Because it's a rap, it's a Christmas rap at the end of this book, too. I like to put little raps at the end of the books.
Yeah.
So he asked me why I didn't call the rap, my poem in the first book, a rap. And I said, because hip-hop didn't exist then. And he said, he thought about the story. So he was like, so your poem that you said became one of the raps on your records? Yes.
You got it.
So it teaches them, you know how when you was little and you would love to get a magnifying glass and go around the yard and stuff like that. Whatever I want these kids to do, whatever you're doing that kids don't think is cool, is actually the most powerful thing that you can do. So you think about kids, I don't like you because you're Jewish, or I don't like you because you're African. When they read this book, they'll realize, why in the world are these people fighting and we do the same things? So like you said, it's a way of subconsciously, without telling them, you need to do this.
Exactly.
You let them experience it themselves. So started with the comic books, and then when I met Shawnee and Johnny Warfield, their whole lives is books. And, you know, I got an advantage with them, teachers who are now principals.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole thing was, my music did to me what these books can do for these kids. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, when I rapped, I'm DMC, and the place to be, I go to St. John's University, you know, Shawnee and Johnny Warfield was like, oh, so school is cool? I'm going to go be a teacher.
Yeah. And that's what I say. I can just see the light bulb going off in that kid who asked that question. Said, wait a minute. So the poem was a rap. So they think rapping's cool.
Right.
They think rappers are cool. But now they realize, hey, that's just music to poetry.
Yes. Right.
And so now,
And
poetry, writing is cool. Education is cool.
Right, exactly.
And you know, kids are so smart, and they're making these leaps without even realizing it. Probably.
That's right. That's the beauty of a book.
Yeah,
that's the beauty. But like even in Charlotte's Web, I remember when I got to the point where the spiders died or Charlotte died. Remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that? When I got to reading the book,
kids.
yeah,
Bambi
it was scary, but
shot,
it made you understand life and death and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, back then they were a lot darker. I mean, you talk about
no,
Batman's parents murdered in the streets.
Yes, man. Whoa, yes.
Yeah.
I remember when Sounder got shot. I was like, what? Yeah, you funny. Back then it was so darker.
Yeah.
Yep. For real.
But so you are still able to address those like a homeless family. I mean, you're able to address things like that, but you do it in such a kind way, I think.
Right.
And
because, you know, the kids hear it on the news every day, but homeless this and homeless in L.A., this and that, boom, bang. But the way that I did it, it lets the kids know. And, you know, the kids see it now.
Yeah.
Now they know they can do something about it.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Again, there's just so many lessons packed into a 32-page.
You know, it's funny. Most all adults say, "Man, this book's for me. It's teaching me something."
It's true.
Yeah,
it
so
is.
Cool.
You know, you talk about when kids, the sharing. Somehow kids lose that when they're. But they're all these universal values that we're all taught at a young age, and that sometimes people lose them. So you're right. Like. I read to all my kids before they go to bed every single night, and you learn lessons from these kids' books. It's a good reminder of like just these universal, basic human values.
And you know what's funny about that? That's why the kids always say, "Daddy, can you read to me again tonight?" Because every night they get something confirmed.
Yes,
or they learn something,
and that's why they can read it the same one over and over because they pick up something new. Every single time. What's the process?
Because with the first book, everybody said, "Yo, my kid still makes me read the first book." So it's not even going to be Christmas, and kids going to be still reading this book every night.
Yeah, that's what I'm glad you said that because that's what's interesting. So yes, it's Christmas in Hollis, but it isn't just a Christmas book at all.
Right.
It's a life lessons.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
Values book.
Yep,
yeah.
100%. Yeah. Just the fact that you got to go to the eye doctor.
Right.
I remember Miss Peterson, my second grade teacher. I'm busy being, in the second grade. Mother comes pick me up, so I'm just standing there. And it's beautiful the way Miss Peterson didn't hesitate. She said, "Miss McDaniels, I need to talk to you about Darryl. I think there's something wrong with him." So, me, I'm like, huh? What? Me, I'm saying, what are you talking about? What's wrong with what's going on? And all she says was, "I think he might need glasses because I see him squinting." And Miss McDaniels, my mother, goes, "Thank you so much, Miss Peterson." She took me to the eye doctor, and that's the thing that got me wearing glasses.
And the famous glasses,
too.
Exactly. How old were you? That's a great.
That was second grade.
Second grade.
Yeah, that was in second grade. And ever since I was wearing glasses. So it's crazy with the kids. I say, don't never let anybody put you down for who you are or what your culture's about. Because everything about you is beautiful. Where you from, especially with all the immigrants. And this whole, I'm saying, these, the kids sitting in class, there's something wrong with me because I come from another country and I want to be here. And they're calling me this word, an immigrant. But when they read this book, they're going to read, the kids here already and the kids coming over going to realize we got everything in common.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to be ashamed of who they are. And I tell them, your story of who you are right now in second, third, fourth grade, you're still going to be that person when you grow up. And I tell them, I still need glasses. I just don't have them now, but I wear contacts.
I was going to ask you because since I've known you,
I wear
no
contacts.
Glasses.
So the kids is like, and I asked them, what are contacts? And kids will put their hand up, their lenses you put directly on your eye. So I said I had this rhyme that goes, D's for doing it all of the time. M's for the rhymes that are all mine. C's for cool as can be. And my partner Run would ask me, why you wear those glasses? And I would shout to the world, so I could see. I didn't wear them to be cool. I didn't wear them to be famous. Other kids teased me because they thought I was less of a person because I needed help to see. But I wasn't ashamed of that. I wrote a rhyme about it and shouted in everybody's face. And then I said, I'm still Darryl from the book. What do you mean? I can say to them, and I say to them, D's for doing it all of the time. M's for the rhymes that are all mine. C's for cool as can be. And I asked them, why do I wear contacts? And they go, so you can see. But then I hit them with this. What letter does the word contact start with? C, and I go, C, and they go, oh, they look like, oh, so I don't want them to be ashamed of who you're immigrant, you're Mexico, or you come from India, whatever you are, we're all perfect together. And hip-hop and rock and roll and music, in books, anything that's creative and artistic and, the illustrating, those are the things that bring us together. And those are the things that could help us understand who we are as ourselves and understand other people. And that was the whole thing with the Christmas in Hollis. The Christmas in Hollis is just a situation or a scenario that we can use to tell a universal story.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the process for writing the book. So you obviously had your co-writers. You had Tristan, who is the illustrator.
Yes.
You worked with us. You worked with Blue Balloon Books.
Yeah, I didn't know it was so much to work to do a book.
Yeah.
I thought you did.
So
growing up, you just think, you write the whole thing and one person does it. No.
Yeah.
You come up with the idea for the book. You get your story. You create your characters. Then we come to y'all and say, what do you think about this? And then y'all help us make sense of it. It's called editing.
Yep.
Put it in a form, and then you gotta get the printer. You gotta print the books. You gotta get a colorist. Well, you get the artist. You get the illustrator. And then illustrator draws it, but then you still gotta ink it, and then you gotta color it. Like, I want the kids to understand this was an amazing experience doing these books. The same way it was an amazing experience learning music. Like, growing up, you hear the song on the radio, you think it all happens at once.
Yeah.
No, the band makes the song, but then the guy got to mix it, and then you got the tracks, and then you got to press it, like the whole thing. So with this book, I learned the whole process is it starts with the idea, then it starts with writing it, and then you go to somebody to help you make the writing make sense, and then you got to print the thing, and then you got to illustrate it. But even when you got to illustrate, you got to color it. So there was so many steps, and that's what I would mean by motivate, educate, and inspire while you entertain. I want kids to understand that in everything that exists on the earth, there's many career opportunities. Like, when you look at sports, everybody wants to be the athlete. I want to be the athlete. But you still need managers. You still need agents. You still need commentators. You know what I'm saying? So with this book, I want kids to understand you could be the writer. Yeah. You can write the book, and your friend in your classroom who draws can draw it. You know what I'm saying? And then your other friend who's very smart and, with literature and math and stuff, he or she could be the accountant for the company.
Yeah, somebody's got to market the book.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I learned that, just like I learned with music, there's so many opportunities for our young people, especially if they're thinking what they do as a creator or what their imagination inspires them to want to be. There's always a place for you. So you don't have to change who you are to be successful.
Do they see all the things that you've done? I mean, we talked about cookies, comic books. Oh, yeah, your music.
Yeah.
Your children's books.
Yep, the Adidas thing.
The Adidas. Yeah. Actually, yeah, keep going. What else?
Sneakers,
we got, there's so many things. But do they see all those things and say, hey, I can do all that, especially because you do so much in New York.
That's the whole key.
This guy's from my neighborhood. Look at all the stuff he's done. Yes. I can do it.
Yes. Especially Hollis, Queens, that's a borough in New York City. Oh, I know that place. You mean you can do what everybody... It's crazy. Kids don't know they can do above and beyond what everybody else is doing.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy. And that's how I was inspired by the DJs, the MCs and rappers, and the breakdancers and the graffiti artists before me. You know, because for me, it was like when hip-hop came, it was like the superheroes jumped off the pages, and all the art and the style and the suits came to life. So it allows you... Albert Einstein says this, and it's a quote. He didn't say knowledge wasn't important. He said imagination is more important than knowledge, because when you put that imagination with the knowledge, then you have success.
Yeah.
So let the kids think and have that imagination, but then give them a book to read. Let them read, let them experience something, let them learn something and watch what happens.
How and when did you start taking your love of art? Because that's what it is with comic books and books as a kid. That's art. How did you start changing that into music, going from reading and into music? Did you start doing poetry and stuff at a young age?
Well, no. I was writing. We talk about this. Most kids had journals or diaries. Remember the diary?
Yeah.
You don't let nobody see your diary. So for me, when I saw hip hop, it wasn't like to do music. For me, hip hop was like, oh shoot, you could tell stories about who you are, sampling other people's music. You know, because growing up for everybody, it was Saturday, and this is funny with art and creativity. For everybody growing up in the last 40, 50 years, especially for people in my generation, Saturday, no school, cartoons.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, Abbott and Costello movies. Remember that? Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, meet Jackie Hyde, Abbott and Costello meet the Invisible Man. So that was it. But on Saturday, musically, it was 12 o'clock Soul Train and 1 o'clock American Bandstand. So we grew up watching all of the Who's and the Al Greens. So that was the thing. We didn't know that we could do that ourselves. So when hip-hop came over the bridge from the Bronx for me, it was like, oh, wow, you can tell stories like Charlotte's Web and the X-Men and the Avengers about who you are over music. So I just started writing my daily adventures. My name was Easy. My first rap name was Easy D. Because my name is Darryl, starts with a D. And it's funny how everything is done with education and literature. You know, kids bug out when I tell them stuff like this. So I'm Darryl. First letter of my name is D. So I'm calling myself Easy D. So I would wake up every day and write a rhyme about what I was doing. I like going. There was a store called Mays growing up in Queens. Mays, Gertz, Corvettes, Times Square stores, all of these stores, Pergaments. So I would just write rhymes about what was going on in my life daily. I like going out on sunny days, go down to the Ave and check out Mays. I buy my hats from Rebel Knox. I buy my sneakers. So it was just me telling real-time stories of me. So then when rap really started to explode and stuff like that, by the time Rapper's Delight came around, I was already prepared. Because I always tell kids, pretend, pre is a suffix, right? Yeah. Pre means before. So I was pretending to be a rapper in my basement all alone, not knowing that it was actually prepared. It was practice.
Did you know that's what it was preparing you for? Or did you
No, not at all.
You just...
I did not want to get in front of nobody.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was reading stories and I was writing, the fact that I was reading and writing all the time, it prepared me for when it was time to execute.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
And still, what, 50 years later, you're
and
still writing, telling those stories.
Right. And it was Riggs Morales, who was Eminem's A&R over at Shady Records for the rise of Eminem's, great career. Riggs Morales was the A&R guy over there. When he came to New York and was working at Atlantic Records and Warner Brothers Records, I went to meet him about music. And when I went into the meeting, and this is what's powerful about books, we sit down. He said, I know I don't want to interview, but what was it like when you was a kid? And he asked me that. And I was like, well, I used to just read comic books and watch TV shows. And he was like, me too. So just by books is a great way of communication for kids. So he was like, me too, you too. So he was a guy that took me to Comic-Con to where when I went in, I saw all the TV shows I grew up, all the games. You know, Comic-Cons is everything. Yep. It's books. Yep. They have a whole book section, book floor. It's books, it's video games, it's board games, it's action figures, it's TV shows, it's movies. So it was everything that was me when I was a kid. And he said, yo, D, you should do a comic book. And at first I was like, no. I said, why should I do a comic book? So it can inspire, motivate, educate while you're entertained. Same thing that when I met Shawnee and Johnny Rothfield, D, you should do a kid's book. Why? So it can inspire, motivate, and educate while you entertain.
And when those opportunities presented themselves, you were already ready.
I was already
prepared.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not an author. Yes, you are. Just tell the story.
Yeah. Just not yet.
I'll hook up with you and you'll help me make sure it's done correctly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what we tell. We hear people, well, I don't know. I'm not an author. Well, you're not an author yet. You're a writer. You're creative. Put it down. We'll make you an author.
And it's funny, as you said that earlier, everybody has a story. And I tell you, your story could save and change somebody's life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And don't be ashamed of your story.
Yeah. You know, I just think too the message again, the fifth message in this, hidden underneath all this is about art and creativity and imagination.
Yes.
And again, kids can see it. The other thing that's really nice about this too is they see, that this is you, and so they can see, hey, this guy's right in front of me.
Yes,
but here's as a kid in a book. Wow, I could do this again.
Right. So they see him, the guy that my grandfather and grandmother goes crazy for. He started just like me. And that's it's funny that you say that. That's why when I did my rhyme on Sucker MCs, I say, I'm DMC in the place to be. I go to St. John's University. Since kindergarten, I acquired the knowledge. So the kids go, oh, he was in kindergarten for, yeah, just like you. Because, kids look at you and just think you woke up and became a businessman and a dad. Yeah. They forgot, I tell all the kids, especially with the middle school kids and the high school kids, I said, you're not putting nothing over on none of your teachers. We know everything that you did because we did it.
That's what my dad told me earlier. He goes, anything you do,
I've done it. Yeah, so. We thought we was doing something. Right. They knew everything that you was doing. But that's the beauty of the kids get to see themselves. Yeah. He was in third grade and now yes. You mean you got teased, bullied in 2 and now yes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I always tell the kids, don't worry, there's always going to be, when you get older, there's going to be bullies worse than the bully that was bullying you when you was a little kid. But if you develop books, the books will prepare these kids to have their own tools. And you know what I'm saying? Like when your kids say, Daddy, can you read to me again? They're ready for another emotion. Because they know tonight they're going to experience something that they didn't before. Yeah. And it's helping them build up a strong defense system, offense and defense, to deal with life.
And it's interesting too, because it can be a very difficult decision for the biggest decision in the world. What are we going to read? Yeah. Because it's and somewhere deep inside them, it's how do they feel right now? How do they want to feel?
Right.
And so they'll, when it's getting around the holidays, they want to feel in the Christmas spirit. Yep. Then they're going to want to read a Christmas book.
Or some will happen in school, in the school year you don't know about. And for some reason, they're going to say, they're going to ask you to read the book that they didn't want to read 3 months ago. Right. Because something happened, and, they don't want to talk to you about. Like in the first book, when Darryl takes his name off the talent show contest, he felt something as soon as he did that. But he was acting like he was cool because the bullies, that's it, poetry and talent shows and being good is corny. So, but he's standing there with them, like we call fronting, thinking like he's down with them, but then he goes home, but he didn't want his mom to know it was him. Mom, what would you do if you wanted to do something that you thought was cool, but the other kids didn't think it was cool? As opposed to him saying, Mommy, I did that. He didn't want to put himself in this situation. She says, Darryl, you have to believe in you and follow your dream. And he still didn't believe it. Then he goes into the dream and stuff like that. So it's important that you said that. Whether everything that we read, and everybody says this, you get a different feeling of the emotion when you read it is deeper for some reason. Like when you see it in the movie, it's cool, but it goes away. With the book, when it hits
because you have to, you internalize it, you apply it to in your head to your life. When you have every other sensation, sight,
it's just there.
It's telling
it's
you.
not connecting, right? You see it, okay, that was the bad part of the movie, but when you're reading it, it touches you, and it creates empathy. Yes,
and that's why, same as you, I would, when I was a kid, still to this day, I would rather read a book than go to the movies or than watch TV. And I always am reading 4 or 5 books at a time because it depends on my mood. Do I want to read Bukowski for the 800th time in a row, or do I want to read this JFK biography?
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
It just depends on my mood. So same as our kids.
You got 4 or 5 books in the room, and I'm gonna read Homer and Iliad today. Like I used to always do that.
Yep, exactly. And it's the same as what you said with the kids. And they may not even know it, but they're gonna, based on how they're feeling, what's going on in their life, they're gonna pick a different book.
100%.
So,
yeah,
this is great. Yeah,
yeah. Books. I mean, books is great, and it's funny. You know, I've been sober for 23 years now and stuff like that. So books is a great blessing for mental health.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, it gives you the quiet time. You can cut out all the noise. Sit down and read a book. Absolutely. And I always tell kids, what is it that you like to do? I want to be a singer. Well, who's your favorite singer? Get the book about them.
Yeah.
And read it. Like, you know, they listen to the music and watch it on social media and watch the video. I said, no, get the book. And a lot of kids go and get the book.
And you know what I like to do, too, is actually just read the lyrics.
Yeah,
because some of these artists, it's poetry.
It's
story and poetry. So if you read it now, if you hear them singing it, you're maybe more focused on the music than you are the words and the story. So if you're reading it, hey, now I can use my imagination.
That's why for us, albums were so good.
Yeah.
Because they used to put the lyrics in it.
Yeah.
Now, you know, digital is instant access, but with the album covers, you would open, and they would give you the lyrics to the song, and then you would read it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you knew them, by hearing it, when you read them, it did something different to you. It touches you deeper emotionally.
Yeah, and definitely
That's
differently.
True, you said that.
Yeah, you know, sometimes, and again, it depends how I feel. Sometimes you just want to listen to it and you can get lost in the sound. Yeah. But sometimes you want to.
I used to always do that with Earth, Wind and Fire albums. I didn't play it. I would just sit there and read the lyrics.
Yeah.
And the Earth, Wind and Fire albums was like, when you read it, it's very spiritual and magical.
Yeah.
If you sit there and read an Earth, Wind and Fire album, it's mystical and it's it was like a movie.
Yeah.
Reading is better than a movie.
I will always agree
Movies,
with that.
But you know why? Proof is in the pudding. You know why reading is better than a movie? Because they make movies out of books.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
I just realized
they don't make books out of movies. They don't go the other way.
Well,
yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. What do you want? What message do you want people to know about Darryl's Christmas in Hollis?
Darryl's Christmas in Hollis will show you the power of love and generosity.
I think that is very well said. That
to
sums
solve
it up beautifully.
all of our problems. If I had to sum it up, yes.
That sums it up beautifully.
Yeah.
And so, book will be released, just for everyone watching, listening. The book will be released on December 2nd.
December 2nd, yes.
But you can order from our website, from bluebloomBooks.com at our bookstore. You can order signed copies that will ship within the next week or so.
Yes.
Dee's in here right now signing about 1 million books.
Yep. We got 1.5 million to go.
Yeah, we got some more. We got some more to go.
Yes, sir.
But it's a beautiful hardcover. It's a big book too. Nice big square. Beautiful illustrations. Great message. I don't think you can do wrong by getting this book for your kid.
I know.
For yourself too. Like you said,
for yourself.
Adults, we're gonna. I learned from this book.
It's so cool. And a big shout out to Tristan Tate.
Yeah, the illustrator.
Yep. He's rocking with us.
He did
Thank you.
Great job. Good job, Tristan. So, all right. And, we have some book signings coming up. There's a couple in Barnes & Noble.
Barnes & Noble's in Jersey. Barnes & Noble's in Jersey. Bookmark Shop in Brooklyn, New York. Bookends in Ridgewood. I think it's Ridgewood, New Jersey. Not Ridgedale. Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Barnes & Noble's Clifton. Bookmark Shop in Brooklyn, Ridgewood, Bookends. Everybody, Bookends is a popular place. Bookends in New Jersey.
We got the airport.
Yes, I'm doing a signing. This is tomorrow. Well,
But this probably won't be out by the time that signing.
oh, this is out after that.
That'll be out after the signing.
Let's do this. I will be doing signings in the airport coming up at the Hudson bookstores. Yep. I'll be in there. And you just never know where I might pop up at a bookstore near you.
Yeah. I told D he needs to just set up a stand.
I'm going to do that.
New York and just
I'm going to do that.
And just
for sure.
I mean, and
you're going to see me out there, people.
And if you can get him to read it, I will defend this till the day I die. There is no better reader of children's books than you. It is absolutely amazing. The animation, the voices, the face. It is absolutely amazing. So those kids are lucky that you.
And over here, I'll put this out there to anybody out there listening. All of you superintendents, principals, teachers, educators, social workers. If you get your people to buy 500 or 1,000 books to disperse to any of the students, wherever you at, elementary school, Boys and Girls Club, group home, wherever, I will personally come to where you are at to visit the youth and the children and read the book.
And you can't
so
get
I'm putting that out there, wherever you at.
Awesome. Well, they're lucky to have you, and so are we. Thanks for coming and doing this.
Thank you.
And congrats on the book. It's amazing.
Happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays. Darryl's Christmas in Hollis. Pick it up everywhere books are sold. And Denley, start playing the song at this point in the podcast.
Rice and stuffing, macaroni and cheese, and Santa put gifts under Christmas tree.